All right, we're back. Let's so I know most or probably everybody heard about what happened with CrowdStrike, their patch update and all that with some kind of patch they did. Um, kind of kind of made me want to go through this book sooner that I have, uh, but I had planned on doing this book at a later time or making a video about this book a later time. But with all this new, with this, I would call it an attack that happened with CrowdStrike because think about it. Um, big company like that, it's got about 9,000 employees, 8,000 employees, and how important they are. You mean to tell me that they don't follow some kind of secure software procedures, and they're just gonna upload a patch that causes that much problems? You know what I mean? I think it was an attack. That's just my opinion. But we that's another video. We can get deep into stuff like that. But anyways, either way, it was bad, right? And you guys know what patches are, and I don't know what kind of patch it was, but I'm sure it was a software patch, right? And so we're gonna go through this book. Let me see. All right, this one's Designing Secure Software: A Guide for Developers by Loren Kohnfelder. No Starch Press. So even though the CrowdStrike stuff happened, whatever, we don't really. I don't know what kind of patch it was, but I mean, it's obviously has to deal with some kind of application or software or whatever. Um, this is a great book to read because if you're in cybersecurity and let's say you're doing programming, this is like one of those buzzwords for employment anyways too. They want to know if you can do secure software design and stuff like that because you know if you're a hacker, okay, and let's say you're hacking whatever you're hacking, okay, you not only have to know how to hack it, you got to know how to defend it, right? So you got to know how to say, okay, so if somebody asks you, hey, how would you um, protect this uh, software from that kind of attack, right? It's good if you know how. Um, and if you're gonna do a job where you're doing like patches or you're doing tickets where you actually, yeah, you're patching up problems and you're fixing things or whatever, okay, and you're fixing troubleshooting problems in the software or whatever. um, this is a good guideline, and we're gonna read what the book is about on how to write the patch or write the software or the problem, fixing the problem or the solution the right way, right, and going about the right strategy and tactics. So this book is, I would say, is a must to have in your, cybersecurity repertoire, right? And then if you're, let's say you want to be a hacker or whatever, and you want to do, get your certification or whatever the heck, everybody's doing. You probably want to know of this and somewhat what it is and how it works, right? That way you have an idea of what the norm has in place. It's like I always say that, like, figure out how everybody does things, right? What is the norm of how everybody does things? What is the norm of of how these systems should function and all that. And once you have that in your mind, then you can go from there, right? It's a lot easier to solve problems when there's a norm, right? And so, having knowledge of how companies or people normally secure their software, you can then have an idea on how to attack it, right? And uh, a strategic point of view, right? Because cybersecurity is strategic. That's why they have honeypots and all this stuff. Hey, they want to set you up. Here's a honeypot. Boom. That's a strategy. They're gonna go. The bees are gonna go for the hackers are gonna go for the honey, and it's not real. We're gonna catch them. We're gonna get some data on them, log analysis. We're gonna find out how they got in, what they did, and then we're gonna use that knowledge to prevent them from actually getting in a real system or something, right? And this is a lot of people that get they get bogged down with oh, I want a job, and what am I supposed to do, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and I'm going to get this certification, I'm going to get that certification, and then but then they don't want to think about how all this is not philosophical. Well, maybe philosophically, yeah. So they don't want to think philosophically how all this works, right? And I say a book like this, I think it'll help anybody, right? And then it's good, like if you know about this stuff and you get into an interview, then speaking on this stuff, might score you some points, right? And I don't think this is a really technical book. We're about to read what it's about. Okay, so like we always do, we're going to read about the author just a little bit. Okay, Loren Kohnfelder began programming about 50 years ago. Okay, she's been programming for a while. As an undergraduate at MIT, and she went to, and he went to, this is the guy. Okay, and then he went to MIT. His thesis, Towards a Practical Public Key Crypto System, in 1978, first described digital certificates and the foundations of public key infrastructure. His software career spans a wide variety of programming jobs, from punched cards, writing desk controller drivers, and linking loaders. And linking loader. What? Drivers? A linking loader. Video games, 2 stints in Japan. Alright, we don't care about all this. Alright, so he's smart. About the technical reviewer. We don't care about the technical reviewer. Alright, let's do a little bit of the forward. The book you have just started to read is unusual in many ways. Small and carefully written, it is very technical. It is a very technical book with very little code. It's a security book designed for those other than security experts. And as Loren discusses, it is deeply personal perspective on technology. It is a deeply personal perspective on technology. Written by someone who has shipped large commercial products, invented important security technology, and worked extensively in product security. In 2006, I joined Microsoft, and I was handed responsibility for how we responsibility for how we threat modeled across all our products and services. The main approach we used was based in Loren's Stride work. Stride is a mnemonic. Is a what? A mnemonic to help us consider the threats of spoofing, tampering, reputation, information disclosure, denial of service, elevation, and privilege. It has become a key building block for me. It is so central that I regularly need the correct people who think I invented Stripe. Alright. We already know what this book's about. We don't need to hear no other stuff. So basically, this book is, like I said, if it's not for technical. It's not going to be technical, but it's going to give you an idea, right? Philosophically, I suppose, of what, how to secure your software. If you, or, I don't know. It's technical. If you cannot, in the long run, tell everyone what you have been doing, your doing has been worthless. Man, I like that saying. I like that saying. What you been doing? Well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. If you can't tell them, you're not doing anything. Join me on a hike through the software security landscape. My favorite hike begins in the rainforest at the top of the islands of Kauai, which is often shrouded in a misty rain. The trail climbs moderately at first, then descends along the contour of the sloping terrain, and it's steep in a place steeped and treacherously slippery after frequent rains. Further down, passing through the valleys choked with invasive ginger or overgrown thorny latana bushes, it gets seriously muddy, and the less and the less dedicated turn and head back. A couple of miles out there, yada yada yada. In my experience, many software professionals find security daunting at first, shrouded in mist, even vaguely treacherous. This is not without good reason. The act of programming corresponded to a physical environment. This would be it. The last mile of the trail runs through terrain made perilous by those volcanic rocks due to the island's geographical tender age of 5 million years. Has had time to turn into soil, blah blah blah. Approaching the end of the trail, you'll find yourself walking along the rim of the deep gorge, the loose ground underfoot almost like ball bearings. To your right, it drops 2,000 feet. In place of the trail, blah blah blah. Security is challenging for a number of reasons. It's abstract, the subject is vast, and the software today is both fragile and extremely complex. How can one explain the intricacies of security enough to depth to connect with readers without overwhelming them with too much information? This book confronts those challenges in the spirits of hikers on a trail and the rim of the gorge by leaning away from the danger and trying to cover everything. In the interest of not losing readers, I err on the side of simplification, leaving out some of the smaller details. What? That's leaving out smaller details? By doing so, I hope to prevent readers from metaphorically falling into a gorge that is getting so confused and frustrated they give up. That's a good way to try to go. The book should instead serve as a springboard. As you approach the end of the trail, I don't really care about that crap. Okay, just as I never get to see every inch of this island, I won't learn anything there is to know about software security. And of course, no book ever covers this broad topic completely either. What I do have in my guide is my own experience. Each of us chart our own unique path through this topic. And though I've been fortunate to doing this for a long time, I've witnessed firsthand key developments and followed the evolution of both the technologies, culture, and software development since early days. And the purpose of this book is to show you the lay of the security land and some words of warning about some of the hazards of the trail. Oh, I get it. So you can begin confidently exploring further on your own. It all makes sense now. When it comes to security, cut and dried guidance that works in all circumstances is rare. So I read a little bit of this book, and I think it's awesome. It incorporates, well, of course, designing secure software. It incorporates cybersecurity mentality with the secure software, or vice versa, whichever one was there first. Okay. There's always much more to say. Solving real world security challenges always requires more context in order to better assess possible solutions. The best decisions are grounded in a solid understanding of the specifics of design, implementation details, and more. As you grasp the underlying ideas and begin applying them, the work becomes intuitive with practice. Fortunately, even small improvements over time make effort worthwhile. So obviously, the software has been around before cybersecurity, right? I mean, it's not the chicken and the egg. They created software and then they had to secure it. But this one uses like the CIA triad, and I don't know if I'm sure that's been around for a long time too. I don't know. When I look back, we're about to find out. When I look back on the work and the security teams at major software companies, a lost opportunity always strikes me. Working at a large, profitable corporation has many benefits, along with on-site messages and sumptuous cafes. come on tap security specialists like myself and design review process. Yet few other software development efforts enjoy the benefits of this level of security expertise and a process that integrates security from the design phase. This book seeks to empower the software community to make this standard practice. With myriad of concerns to balance, designers have their hands full. The good ones are certainly aware of security considerations, but they rarely get a security design review. And none of my industry acquaintances have heard of the service being offered by consultants. Developers also have varying degrees of security knowledge, and also, unless they pursue it as a specialty, their knowledge is often at best piecemeal. Piecemeal? Some companies do care enough about security to hire expert consultants, but this invariably happens late in the process, so they're working on the fact that sure, blah, blah, blah. Over the years, I have tried to gently spread the word about security among colleagues. And invariably, okay, we're going to skip all this. This guy likes to talk, you know. Yeah. All right. We're going to do, man. We always skip the acknowledgments. All right. I don't know what the book is about for sure. For sure, we know what the book is about. Introduction. Another introduction? This book is a guide for software professionals who want to better understand concepts essential to the discipline of software security and learn how to practice the art of security software design and implementations. Several of the topics covered here I was fortunate to have innovated myself. Others I witnessed develop and take root based on my own industry experience. This book is packed with actionable ideas you can start using right away to make the software you work on more secure. Alright, like it. Two central themes run through this book: encouraging software professionals to focus on security early in the software construction process, and involving the entire team in the process of, as well as responsibility for the security. There's certainly plenty of room for improvement in both of the areas, and this book shows how to realize these goals. I've had the unique opportunity of working on the front lines of software security over the course of my career, and now I would like to share my learnings as broadly as possible. 20 years ago, I was part of the team at Microsoft that first applied threat modeling at scale across a large software company. Years later, I participated in the evolution of the same fundamental practices and experienced a whole new way of approaching the challenge. Part 2 of this book is informed by my having performed well over 100 design reviews. Looking back at how far we have come provides me with a great perspective which to explain in all anew. Designing, building, and operating software systems is an inherently risky undertaking. Every choice, every step of the way nudges the risk of introducing a security vulnerability either up or down. This book covers what I know best. I learn from the personal experience. I convey the security mindset from first principles and show how to bake in security throughout the development process. Along the way, I provide examples of design and code, largely independent of specific technology, so they can be as broad as possible. The text is peppered with numerous stories, analogies. I bet you it is, and examples to add spice and communicate abstract ideas as effectively as possible. That's fine. The security mindset comes more easily to some people than others, so I have focused on building the institution to help you think in new ways that will facilitate a software security perspective in your work. And I should add that this is my own experience, even though this is, even for those of us to whom it comes easily, there's always more insights to gain. This is a concise book that covers a lot of ground, and writing it, I would come to see its brevity as essential to what success it may achieve. Software security is a field of intimidating breadths and depths, so keeping the book shorter I will hope it'll make it more broadly approachable. My aim is to get you thinking about security in new ways and make it easy for you to apply new perspectives in your own work. Who should read this? This book is for anyone already proficient in some facet of software design and development, including architects, UX/UI designers, program managers, software engineers, programmers, testers, and management. Tech professionals should have no trouble following the conceptual materials as long as they understand the basics of how software works and how it is constructed. Software is used so pervasively, it is such a great diversity that I won't say all of it needs security. However, most of it likely does. and certainly anything that connects to the internet or interfaces significantly with people. In writing this book, I found it useful to consider three classes of prospective readers, and would like to offer a few words to each of these camps. Each of these scamps, I don't know. Security newbies, especially those intimidated by security, are primarily audience I'm writing for, because it's important for everyone working with security understands software understands the security, so they can contribute to improving it. To make more secure software in the future, we need everyone involved. I hope this book will help those starting to learn about security to get caught up to speed. Security aware readers are those interested in but limited knowledge of security, seeking to deepen their understanding and learn more practical ways of applying these skills to their work. I wrote this book to fill in the gaps and provide plenty of ways you can immediately put what you learn here into practice. Security experts, you know who you are. Round out the field. There may be familiar with much of the material, but I believe this book provides some new perspectives, and still has much more to offer. Namely, the book includes discussions of important relevant topics such as security design, security reviews, and software skills that rarely are written about. Part 3 of this book, which covers implementation vulnerabilities and mitigations, includes short expert excerpts of code written in either C or Python. And that's another thing. If you're getting into hacking, you want to learn the C's, you want to learn Python, because I think Linux is written in C. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. And Python is Python, so it's good for it's good for scripts. Assign familiarity with the concepts of memory allocation, as well as understanding the integer and floating point types, including binary arithmetic. In a few places, I use mathematical formulae, but notice more than modulo and exponential arithmetic. Readers who find the code or math too technical or irrelevant should feel free to skip over these sections without fear of losing the thread of the overall narrative. References such as Man1 are NIX Unix family of operating systems. Nice. Commands and functions. What topics does the book cover? The book consists of 13 chapters organized into 3 parts, covering concepts, design, and implementation, plus a conclusion. Part 1, Concepts. Chapter 1 through 5 provide a conceptual basis for the rest of the book. Chapter 1, Foundations, is an overall information security and privacy fundamentals. Chapter 2, Threats, introduces threat model. Okay, we don't care about that. We're going to come upon that. 2, Design. This part of the book, yeah, we don't care about all this. We already got a gist of what it's going to be. Good, safe, fun. Before we get started, I'd like to add some important words of warning about responsible with the security knowledge this book presents. In order to explain how to make software safe, I had to describe how various vulnerabilities work and how attackers potentially exploit them. This is exactly what I just said. Experimentation is a great way to hone skills from both the attack and defense perspectives. But it is important to use the knowledge carefully. Never play around with investigating security on a production system. When you read about cross-site scripting, for instance, you may be tempted to try browsing your favorite website with lucky URLs to see what happens. Please don't. Even when done with the best of intention, these explorations may look like real attacks to site administrators. It is important to respect the possibility of others, interpret your action as threat, and of course, you may be skirting the law in some kind of countries. Okay, so like I always say, I always do a disclaimer on these videos. Don't do anything illegal. That's just common sense, right? You're not gonna. There's all sorts. If you look at all my videos, I've got VMs, I've got websites you can hack, vulnerability websites, websites you can hack. Hold on, I gotta turn my air conditioner on. It's getting too hot in here. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can do legally, and you'll still learn how to do it, right? You don't need to break the law. Okay, Furthermore, this book represents the best general advice I can offer based on many years of experience working on software security. No guideline is perfect for or applicable in every conceivable context. Solutions mentioned herein are never silver bullets. They are suggestions or examples of common approaches worth knowing about. It's exactly what I said. Common approaches. You want to find out what the common approach is, right? And then you know how to attack it. Rely on your best judgment when assessing security decisions. No book can make these choices for you, but this book can help you get them right. Part one: concepts. This we're just gonna do a 30-minute video, so about 5 more minutes, or we might actually get through chapter one. And I'm thinking I want to do a series on this, so I think that I actually really think that this is very important. This book into your development of a programmer or even cybersecurity. Um, if you're in management or if you're in a job where you're doing nothing but cybersecurity, and let's say you have to interact with the software group and you don't know how to program or nothing, it'd be awesome to understand how to even secure it, right? Because your role might not be to actually program and secure it, but if you read this book, you might have the concepts of what they're doing and what they're trying to do, and stuff like that. So, all right, foundations. Honesty is a foundation, and it's usually a solid foundation. Even if I do get into trouble for what I said, it's something that I can stand on. It's true. Um, this is basically how I do things. You don't lie. You always tell the truth, right? Because you can always stand on that foundation. And when you're, this is how I see that quote too. When you're when you're doing an assessment or an evaluation of some sort, or you're trying to do your job, there's no point in trying to do anything other than tell the honest truth on what you're doing or what you're trying to do. If something is broke, it doesn't matter who broke it. It doesn't matter at that time, right? You need to just fix it. That's what you're doing. Let's fix this problem. Let's all work together and fix this problem. Let's be honest in what we're doing and how we're going to fix it and not lie. And then once we do that, then everything else you can do, right? But the first action is to do the task honestly. Somebody asks me, "Hey, can you do this?" I'm not gonna tell them like, "Yeah, I could do that," and I don't think I can do it. I'm gonna tell the truth, like, "Well, I think I could." Uh, how many days can you do it? In 3 days? I'll assess it and look at it, and if I've done it before, I'll be like, "Sure." If I haven't, I'll be like, "Ah, I don't. Maybe 5, so I can figure it out." All right, software security is at once a logical practice and an art. One based on intuitive decision making. It requires an understanding of modern digital systems, right? But also a sensitivity to human interaction with and affected by those systems. If that sounds daunting, then you have a good sense of fundamental challenges this book endeavors to explain. So he's just basically saying he has a lot of experience um, with digital systems and stuff and people. If that sounds daunting, then you have a good sense of blah, 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 blah. This perspective also sheds light on why software security has continued to challenge the field for so long, and why the solid progress made so far has taken so much effort, even if it has only chipped away at some of the problems. Yet there is a very good news in the state of affairs, because it means that all of us can make a real difference in increasing the awareness of, participation in, better security at every stage of the process. We begin by considering what security exactly is. Given security's subjective nature, It is critical to think clearly about the foundations. This book represents my understanding of the best thinking out there based on my own experience. Undergirds all this. Trust undergirds undergirds. Okay, he's got some really cool or old or weird words. It's fine. All security, because nobody works in a vacuum. A modern digital systems are far and works in a vacuum, and modern digital systems are far too complicated to be built single-handedly from the silicon up. You have to trust others to provide everything, right? Starting with the hardware, firmware, operating systems, and compilers. That you don't create yourself. Nope. Build Building on this base, next I present the six classic principles of security, the three components of classic information security, and the three-part gold standard used to enforce it. Finally, the section on information privacy adds important human and social factors necessary to consider a digital product and service become increasingly integrated into the most sensitive realms of modern life. Though readers doubtlessly have good intuition about what words such as security, trust, or confidentiality mean, in this book these words take a specific technical meaning worth teasing out carefully. So I suggest reading this chapter closely as a challenge as a challenge to more advanced readers. I invite you to attempt to write better descriptions for yourself. No doubt it will be educational exercise for you. I like that. It wants us to think for ourselves. Understanding security. All organisms have natural instincts to chart a course away from danger, defend against attacks, and aim towards whatever sanctuary they can find. Right? I agree with that. It is important to appreciate just how remarkable our innate sense of physical security is. When it works, by the contrast, we have genuine signals to work with in the virtual world, and fake signals are easily fabricated. Before we approach security from a technical perspective, let's consider a real world story as an illustration of what humans are capable of, as well as later in the digital domain, we need a whole new set of skills. The following is true story from an auto salesman. After conducting a customer service drive, the salesman and the customer returned to the lot. The salesman got out of their car and continued to chat with the customer while walking around in front of the car. When I looked him in the eyes, the salesman recounted, that's when I said, "Oh no, this guy's gonna try to steal this car." Events accelerated. The customer turned thief, put the car in gear, and sped away while the salesman hung on for the ride for his life on the hood of the car. The perpetrator drove violently in an unsuccessful attempt to throw him from the vehicle. Fortunately, the salesman sustained no major injuries, and the criminal was soon arrested, convicted, in order to pay restitution. A suitable risk calculation took place when those two men locked eyes. Within fractions of a second, the salesman had processed complex visual insights derived from the customer's facial expressions and body language, distilling into the clear intentions of a hostile action. Now, imagine that the same salesman was the target of a spear phishing attack. Okay, a fraudulent email designed to fool a specific target. Okay, perfect. As opposed to a mass audience. In the digital realm, without the signal he had detected when face to face with the attacker, he'd be much more easily tricked. When it comes to information security, computer networks, and software, we need to think analytically to assess the risk we face when we have to have any hope of securing digital systems, as we must do this despite being unable to directly see, smell, or hear bits or code. Whenever you're examining data online, you're using software to display information in human readable fonts. Typically, there's a lot of code between you and the actual bits. In fact, it is potentially a hall of mirrors, so you must trust your tools and trust that you are really examining the data you think you are. Software security centers on the protection of digital assets against an array of threats, an effort largely driven by a basic set of security principles that the rest of this chapter will discuss. By analyzing a system from these first principles, we will learn how vulnerabilities slip into software, and well as how to proactively avoid and mitigate problems. These foundation principles, along with other design techniques covered in subsequent chapters, apply not only the software but also designing and operating bicycle locks, bank vaults, or prisons. The term information security refers specifically to the protection of data and how it access is granted. Software security is a broader term that focuses on the design, implementation, and operation of software systems that are trustworthy, including the reliable enforcement of information security. Trust. Trust is equally critical in the digital realm, yet to be often taken for granted. Software security ultimately depends on trust because you cannot control every part of the system while all of your own software or vet all suppliers or dependencies. Modern digital systems are so complex that not even the major tech giants can build a complete technology stack from scratch. From the silicon to the operating systems, networking, peripherals, and the numerous software layers that make it all work. So here's to my subscribers. In my channel, okay, so my channel uh, is progressively getting more technical, right? But if you're a beginner and you are learning about cybersecurity, um, or you want to get into cybersecurity, watch my older videos. I have beginner videos, I have intermediate videos, I have, this I would say would be more advanced, or it would be a side topic. But if you're reading this, he's incorporating it all together, right? Because it is software and cybersecurity. Um, this is going to use a lot of, like I said, the book is for people. It's for different levels of people. But this book is going to use a lot of things that I'm going to assume you know of. And if you don't, what you do is you pause the video and you go Google it real quick. That's what I would recommend because we have the knowledge at our fingertips now. You don't have to pause the video and go look at an encyclopedia anymore. Which, if you were somebody that was interested in all that, you probably would, or look in the dictionary. But encyclopedia would have had like all this stuff in it, right? Or dictionary. But now we have Google. So just pause it. For instance, you don't know what operating systems is, right? You're just getting into cyber. You're just getting interested in all this. You're thinking about going to school or whatever, or learning on your own. And you don't know what operating systems there are. Google it. Okay. You don't know what networking is. Google it. Okay. Because this is supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be a learning experience. So just Google it. I'll explain some things, but I'm going to assume that you know the basics. Okay. The systems we rely on routine are remarkable technical accomplishments of immense size and complexity. Since today we can build these systems all by ourselves, organizations rely on hardware and software products, often chosen based on features or pricing. But it is important to remember that each dependency also involves a trust decision. Security demands that we examine these trust relationships closely, even though nobody has the time or resources to investigate and verify everything. Failing to trust enough means doing a lot of needless work to protect systems when no real threat is likely. On the other hand, trusting too freely could mean getting blindsided later. Put bluntly, when you fully trust an entity, they are free to fail without consequences. Trust can be violated in two fundamentally different ways: by malice, cheating, lying, or subterfuge. Man, and by incompetence. I love that word. There is so much incompetence going on right now. It's not even funny. Mistakes, misunderstandings, or negligence. I like this guy already. The need to make critical decisions in the face of incomplete information is precisely what trust is being suited for. But our innate sense of trust relies on subtle sensory inputs, wholly unsuited to the digital realm. The following discussion becomes within the concept of trust itself, dissects what trust as we experience it is, and then shifts to trust as it relates to the software. As you read along, try to find the common threads and connections you about how you think about software to your institution, about trust. Tapping into your existing trust skills is a powerful technique, but over time gives you a gut free for software security that is more effective than the amount of technical analysis. So how I read trust is you have to trust uh, the stuff that works, right? And you have to trust to a certain extent to where you need to understand though that if you trust too much, then you could have a problem. But so you got to have a balance. You got to have a balance of uh, I would say of trusting and not trusting. Does that make sense? So not trusting all the way, but saying, okay, so this is supposed to work. This is a relatively secure process, but let's go ahead and make sure we do our due diligence on this, just in case, right? You can interpret that in many ways, but yeah, feeling trust. The best way to understand trust, okay, what is going to tell us, is to pay attention while experiencing what relying on trust actually feels like. Here's a thought experiment or an exercise to try it for real. With someone you really trust that brings home exactly what trust means, imagine walking along a busy thoroughfare thoroughfare with a friend with traffic streaming by only a few feet away. Sighting a crosswalk up ahead, you explain that you would like them to guide you across the road, that you're relying on them to cross safely, and that you are closing your eyes and will obediently follow them. Holding hands, you and your friend proceed to the crosswalk, where they gently turn to you and face the road, gesturing by the touch that you should wait. Listening to the sounds, speeding cars, you know well that your friend and now guardian is waiting until it is safe to cross, but your heartbeat is most likely. I'm sorry. And you may find yourself listening intently for sounds of imminent danger. Yeah, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody with my life. Now your friend unmistakably leads you forward, guiding you to step down from the curb. You're decided to step into the road with your eyes closed. What you are feeling is pure trust, and perhaps some degree of lack of thereof. Your mind needlessly senses palpable risk. Your senses strain to confirm safety directly, and something deep down is warning you not to do so. Your own internal security monitoring system has insufficient evidence. And once you don't open your eyes before moving, oh my god. What if your friend somehow misjudges the situation, or worse, is he playing a deadly evil trick on you? Ultimately, this is a good one. I like it. It is a trust you have invested in your friend that allows you to override those instincts across the road. Man, okay, so uh, that is so funny. So, uh, that's a lot of trust. And that's more, I would say, trust in your friend's brains and competence. Now I want to know what kind of road this is, right? Because I like to think for myself. Is this one of those roads where you just press the button and it goes beep beep, and then it allows you to walk, and the cars have to stop? Then maybe I trust them a little more. So in other words, there has to be stuff in place. If it's one of those ones where it doesn't, it's just a road and he's trying to have me jaywalk, then I ain't gonna do it because I don't. That's something I need to do with my eyes open, right? So that was just kind of funny, and then, it depends on which friend too. 'Cause I got a lot of friends, and they're all different intelligence levels, and competence levels. You know what I'm saying? Raise your own awareness of digital trust decisions, and help others to see how important their impact is on security. Ideally, when you select a component or choose a vendor for a critical oh god, important their impact on security ideally. When you select a component or choose a vendor for critical service, you'll be able to tap into the very same institutions that guide trust decisions like the exercises just described. Alright, you cannot see bits. Okay, we might have to pause it right here and just call that a video. I want to see how long this chapter is real quick. Okay, yeah, so this is where it gets into your confidentiality, integrity, and availability. See, and it goes over that. And that's, the more times, I'm going to explain this to you in cybersecurity. The more times you read this and understand it, the better you're going to be. The more times you do anything in cybersecurity and understand it and memorize it, the better you're going to be. That's just the bottom line. So, it if you're trying to get into cybersecurity and you want to, uh, let's say, be really efficient at it or whatever, and have a knowledge of most of it or all different facets of it, you're gonna want to just constantly be reading and studying and learning and on a constant stream to where it becomes part of your brain, right? And so, you're all about that. Like let's say like when you're Michael Jordan, or let's say you're a basketball player or whatever, and you're constantly playing. When people are talking about it, you could talk about it as well. You can say, yeah, forward guard and all this other stuff, and the strategies and everything like that, or any field that you immerse yourself in, right? And this is just immersing yourself, but these are very important things in cybersecurity that they want topics that they want to know, right? They want to know if you know about the CIA triad. They want to know if man, this is a long chapter. Is this chapter 2? Oh man, that is a long chapter. All right, we're gonna have to break this video up to like 2 videos, and this one just took a little longer because it went through. I had the introduction always takes a little longer, but I think this is a great book for your brain. You this is an awesome book for your brain. I would say I'm already stimulated because you're getting knowledge from this man that's been in the field for 55 years. First of all, and it seems like he's very competent in what he's saying. He's giving you examples. He's keeping it fresh. I think would be a great read, right? I just laughed to that, whole thing, because there's no way I'm gonna tell one of my friends to, hey, let's do a trust exercise. I'm gonna close my eyes, and you're gonna walk me across the street, saying I trust them, but my friend's finally gonna go, why? Well, it's a trust exercise. I want to see how confident you are. But, if the guy's incompetent, then we're both gonna get hit. So I don't. But see, it puts a perspective on trust. It's like, dang, it's a very powerful uh, thing. So I don't know. I like the book. It's interesting to read. I'm gonna make a series of it. I'm gonna go through the whole damn book because I want this knowledge in my brain. Say for uh, my future endeavors, and I'm gonna learn something. If I get a job where I'm designing software, so you never know. It'd be great to have these tips and trades. Um, yeah, see competence and imperfection. So I like this book. Let's go to. I'll show you another one that's kind of similar to this, and I don't know if I have it. I don't think I have it. It's called Thinking in Systems, and it's also a great read. That's kind of like that, where it's good for thinking of something as a whole, as a system. Uh, I don't have it. I have it in a physical form, I think. I don't have a digital copy of it. But anyways, like I said, Designing Secure Software: A Guide for Developers by Kohnfelder Loren. Loren Kohnfelder. Pick this book up, man. It was like $30. like 20 books maybe. Seems like a great book, man, to read. And if not, just follow this series. I'll read it to you, and we could discuss it, and we could learn about this. I think this is a very important topic, especially with this CrowdStrike patch mishap. Um, it's an obvious software or application or whatever it was. I have to look more into it. I just heard of it. I didn't look into it. Neglect or incompetence. It has to be. Somebody got in trouble, and I'm assuming that a whole team got in trouble. People probably got fired. I mean, that's just a given. It's not. It's a huge mistake. Like you said, if you go back to this, it's a huge mistake or incompetence or whatever it was, or neglect. And maybe if they read this book, or if they had read this book, whoever was in charge would have did his due diligence, or they would have done their due diligence, he or she or whatever, and prevented that huge mistake. So just words of food for thought, you know. Yeah, this channel is not only just technical. This is a channel for all cybersecurity spectrum, right? And this is part of cybersecurity. Um, and so cybersecurity is part of is part of just securing everything, right? Information and hardware and technical and software. So I mean, it just goes on and on. All right, that was Hack the File, and if you enjoyed this video, um, like, subscribe, comment. I'm going to do a series on this, so you don't have to tell me you want to do a series on it. I'm going to do it anyways because I really like this book. So, all right, see you next time. Have fun.